Cape Fear history and mysteries.
On February 27, 1776, during the Revolutionary War, in modern-day Pender County, North Carolina, a battle was fought that would not only boost Patriot morale, but also lead North Carolina to become the first of our 13 colonies to vote in favor of independence from the British. I'm Brandon Ewers with WWAY, along with the help of Dr. Chris Fonvielle, UNCW, and Moores Creek National Battlefield, to bring you a story of a fight for freedom. The Battle of Moores Creek Bridge.
When Richard Caswell's army of about 650 militia arrive at Moores Creek Bridge, Alexander Lillington is entrenched, has built an entrenched encampment on the east side of the creek. But not knowing which side of the creek the Loyalists would appear on, Caswell went to the west side and built his encampment there. And about midnight, a Loyalist courier arrived in Caswell's camp. His name was James Hepburn. And ostensibly what he was there to do was to offer a pardon to the Patriots if they would lay down their muskets and stop the madness. But in fact, what he was really there to do was to discover the whereabouts of the Patriot main encampment and count their numbers. And Caswell knew this. So when Hepburn retreated to the Loyalist encampment, which was about 6 miles away, and informed his superiors that he had discovered the Patriot encampment, then they prepared to make the attack on the west side of the creek. Caswell, knowing this, abandoned his encampment, retreated to join Lillington's force entrenched on the east side of the creek. And when they crossed Widow Moore's Creek Bridge, the last guys pulled up the planks from the bridge, and then they greased the stringers with soft soap and animal tallow to make them real greasy and slippery. And then Caswell's men joined Alexander Lillington's force in the entrenched encampment on the east side of the creek, where the Loyalists arrived in the early morning hours of February the 27th in Caswell's camp, led by James Hepburn. They surrounded the camp. Campfires were still burning. Caswell was pretty smart. He abandoned his encampment, left his campfires burning so the Loyalists would think he was still there, and then they crossed the creek. And when the Loyalists arrived, they surrounded the camp, stormed into the camp, only to discover it's been abandoned. But with the campfire still burning and apparently skillets still cooking meat, they thought, we've surprised them. We've got them on the run. If we pursue them hotly, we can overtake them and defeat them and open the way to Brunswicktown. Colonel Donald McLeod, would lead a group of claymore-wielding Scotsmen, those big giant broadswords like you see in Braveheart. And to make their way across the bridge, they took the points of those broadswords and stuck them into the pine stringers, and then gingerly made their way across the bridge to be followed by other Scots. And when Colonel McLeod figured that he had enough guys in the vanguard unit, 30 or 40 guys, they advanced very quickly up the causeway on the east side of the bridge, waiting for other Scots, and there were about 300 Highland Scots at the bridge site, to make their way across the bridge and then join him. So they make their way up the causeway, and then the next thing that they would have heard would have been the rising up of Patriot forces under Caswell and Lillington to meet the advancing Loyalists.
Freezer! Fire! Buffalo! Make ready! Fire! Freezer! Fire!
There's a fusillade, a volley of musketry from the Patriot forces, which of course stuns the Scots. They're not expecting it. McLeod goes down.
Freeze it! Freeze it! Fire!
So North Carolina was the first colony to put in writing support for the independence movement. Now, other colonies had made verbal commitments to the independence movement, but we were the first to put it in writing. And that's why we are first in freedom.